Module 3, Lesson 14, and today we are going to take what we've been learning about adding and subtracting fractions and finding common denominators, and we are going to strategize. We're going to find different strategies to solve multi-term problems. This means we're going to put together everything we've learned and try to find quicker, faster, easier ways to solve our problems. So please turn to your Learn book. And we're on Lesson 14 problem set. And the first one says rearrange the terms so that you can add or subtract mentally, then solve. So we're going to use mental math. Now, the great thing about math is that you can change the numbers around and it still means the same as long as you follow some rules. So these are all added together. That means we can put them in any order we want. So I'm going to go ahead and move the biggest one out here, 2 and 2/3 plus. Now, in order, I want to use something that has the same denominator. So I'm going to put the 1/3 there. Then I'm going to go ahead and put those in parentheses. You don't have to, but just so that you can see the visual. And then I'm going to put my 1/4 on this side and my 7/4 on that side. Now we can do a little bit of mental math. 2/3 plus 1/3 equals 1, right? Because 2/3 plus 1/3 equals 3/3, and 3/3 equals 1. You can do that in your head. And if you know that that equals 1, 1 plus 2 equals 3. Okay? Do you see how I got there? If you don't see how I got there, you need to ask, okay? Now, 1/4 plus 7/4 equals 8/4. And 8/4, I'm going to put that right there, equals 2, right? 4/4 equals 1, 8/4 equals 2. So I'm going to put that there. And now I can easily solve my problem. 3 plus 2 equals 5. And I didn't have to find any common denominators. I just used mental math. By rearranging them, I found a faster strategy and easier way to do this problem. Okay, I'm going to do the same here. Now be careful. This one is subtraction and addition. Do you see that? And I want to keep the symbol next to the fraction. So 2 and 3/5. 2 and 3/5. Sorry, my neighbor's dog is barking. Then I'm going to move this over here, plus 2/5. And I can put a parentheses around that. And then I can subtract that 3/4. Now, as long as I put the subtraction symbol in front of the 3/4, doesn't matter what order I put them in, okay? So 2 and 3/5 plus 2/5, well, 3/5 plus 2/5 equals 5/5. 5/5 equals 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. Now I'm going to subtract 3/4. Can you do that in your head? You should be able to at this point. I know that if I add 1/4, that would bring that up to 1. And then 2 would solve my problem. So 2 1/4 plus 3/4 would be 3. So my answer is 2 1/4. 4. Okay, this is all subtraction. So again, I can put it in any order I want. Let's see here. 4 and 3/7 minus, and as long as I keep that together, 3/7. Oh, that looks really convenient right there. Minus, and I'm going to put this here, 2 and 1/4 minus 3/4. Put that there. Okay, now 4 and 3/7 minus 3/7. Oh, that's a nice number. That's just 4, right? 3/7 minus 3/7 is 0, and then I'm just left with the 4. And here, this is 2 and 1/4 minus 3/4, which is a little bit tricky, but what I can do here is just borrow very quickly from this, make that a 1, and turn this into a 5. Do you see how I did that? If you don't, I did 1 plus 4 over 4 plus 1/5, okay? That's what I did, I just borrowed. So now that is 1 5/4 minus 3/4, which would leave me with 1 2/4, okay? 2/4 is also a half. You already know that. So if I have another half, that would bring me up to 2, and then 3/4. Okay? 1 1/2 plus 2 1/2 equals 4. Next one. Okay. This one I practiced by myself for a minute because it tricked me for a second, but now I think I've got it. So, and it's okay if things take you a minute. 5/6 plus 1/6. I'm going to do that first. Then I'm going to add 1/3. Then I want to put a big parentheses around this. And then I'm going to subtract 4/3 from what I've got. So let's add this up. 5/6 plus 1/6 equals 6/6. 6/6 equals 1. Then add my 1/3, 1 1/3. Now I can just subtract 4/3. And this is a mixed number. I want to turn it back into an improper fraction. So 1 equals 3 over 3. 3 over 3 plus 1 over 3 equals 4/3. Minus 4/3 equals 0. Okay, I did have to play with that one a couple times until I figured out how to work that. So don't feel bad if you need to take a little extra time sometimes. Fill in the blank to make this statement true. So we want to figure out what is that. Okay, well, let's see what we can do here. 11 2/5 minus 3 2/3. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and do this problem first. Although I see thirds and thirds here, maybe you would prefer to do that. We can do that. That seems like it would be more in theme with what we've been doing. So let's try that. I'm going to put a parentheses here and here, and let's see if that makes it a little bit easier. 11 2/5 minus. Now I have to I'm going to just go ahead and turn this all the way into an improper fraction. So 3 3s is 1, 6 3s is 2, 9 3s is 3, 9 plus 2 is 11 3s, minus 11 3s. Well, look what happened there. That turned into 0. So 11 2/5 minus 0 equals, what's my answer? 11 2/5. Great. Do you see how sometimes using parentheses can help us kind of visualize and organize our thoughts just a little bit better? Now, this side, this is a little tricky. We need to figure out what's going to go in here. So first of all, we're going to add this, okay? We're going to add that. And I think we're going to need to find our common denominator here, which is 8 and 5, that would be 40. So 11 and something over 40 plus 3 and something over 40. Okay, and in order to find those, I would need to multiply this by 5 over 5 and this by 8 over 8. And that's going to give me 35/40 and 8/40. Okay, so now I can add that up pretty easily. Let's try that. 35 plus 8, well, let's do the whole numbers first. 11 plus 3 is 14. 14. And 35 plus 8 is 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. Sometimes I count with my fingers. It's okay if you count with your fingers. Okay, now this is a mixed number. And remember, I'm still just doing this section. I haven't even thought about that yet, okay? So I want to turn that into I'm going to erase all this so that you can see what the original problem was. I don't want you to get too confused. Okay, I'm going to turn this back into well, not an improper fraction. It is an improper fraction, so I'm going to turn it into a mixed number. So that would be 14 plus 40 over 40 plus 3 over 40, which actually equals, this would equal 15 and 3/40. Okay, so this all together, right, this equals 15 and 3/4. Now I still have to figure out what I want to subtract to make 15. Well, 15 and 3/4 minus 3/4 equals 15. C. Okay, there's the missing numbers in the middle again. But the great thing here is we can add and subtract as we need to. We can just move things around. So what I'm going to do here, instead of subtracting second, I'm going to move this over. So let's just do this right now. 5 12s plus 5 4s, okay, and then I'm going to subtract whatever that is, equals 2/3. Okay, so let's figure out this problem. I think we can use 12 as our common denominator. So 5 over 12 plus, and then I would need to multiply that by 3 and this by 3. That will give me 12 and 15. That gives me 20 over 12. And then I need to subtract whatever this number is to get 2/3. Okay, so what I want to do, that is a mixed fraction. I want to take that back into an improper fraction. I want to take that back into a mixed fraction. So that would be 12 12s plus 8 12s minus something equals 2/3. Okay, well, I am going to erase that 12 12s and I'm just going to put the number 1. And look at this. Look at this, 8 12s. Could I turn that back into a 3 somehow? Or could I turn this into a 4? We could go either way. So I think I'm going to actually divide this. I'm going to simplify 8 12s. I'm going to divide this by 4. Divide that by 4. And I'm going to divide this by 4. And that's going to give me 1 and 2/3 minus something equals 2/3. Well, what do you think that's going to be? 1 and 2/3 minus 1 equals 2/3. So what's my answer here? My answer is 1. I know we're supposed to be making these problems easier, but sometimes it's just about strategy. It's not always the easiest. Okay, here we go. How about this one? Something minus 30 minus 7 and a quarter equals 21 and 2/3. Okay, well, let's figure this out. I think I'm going to just go ahead and put a parenthesis around that. And whatever this is, I'm going to subtract it later. So 30 minus 7 would be 23. But remember, we have this fourth here. So actually, it's 22 and 3/4. Okay, so something minus 22 and 3/4 equals 21 and 2/3. I think we're going to need a number line here. What do you think? I think a number line is going to be good here. So let's, some mysterious number here, minus 22 and 3/4 gets us to 21 2/3. Okay, so we have to figure out what that is. So in fact, do you see how in order to find this number, we can just add these together? So 21 2/3 plus 22 3/4. Well, here we have to find our common denominator. That's going to be 12. So 2/3 would actually be 8/12 plus 21 8/12 plus 22. And if we're going to turn that into 12s, it would be 9/12 equals 43 17/12. Okay, but this is still an improper fraction, so let's make that 44 5/12. So up here, our answer would be 44 5/12 minus 30, which if we subtracted 30 right away, we're going to do the problem here so that you can see that it comes out to the right answer. 44 5/12 minus 30 would be 14 5/12. Wait a minute, what am I doing wrong? Oh, I definitely did something wrong. This is why we check our work. This is why we check our work. Okay, 21 1/3. Then I need to add, let me go back the other way. Okay, sorry, I hope you have your erasers out. Math requires erasers sometimes. I got the wrong answer, didn't I? So let's see how I did it. Okay, so I think that that's the wrong answer. So I'm going to start over. Okay. So 21, here's my number line. I'm going to start at 21. And 21 2/3. I'm going to put that one right here. Now I'm subtracting on this side, so I'm going to add on this side, okay? So 21 plus 7 1/4. Okay. Then I'm going to add another 30 here, and that's going to take me up to whatever my starting number was. That's what I did wrong. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add these right away. So 7 and 30 are 37. Okay, so 21 2/3 plus 37 1/4 equals whatever we're going to try and figure out here. So let's try this. 21 37 would be 58. And 2/3 and 1/4, so we're going to need to turn that into 12s. Plus 8/12 and 3/12 equals 58, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 11/12. 58. Wow. My first strategy did not work. 58 and 11/12. That's why sometimes we have to start over again. Okay, this is why we check our work. So let's try it. 58 and 11/12 minus 30. Well, 58 minus 30 would be 28 and 11/12. Now we're going to take 28 and 11/12 and we're going to subtract 7 1/4 minus 7 1/4 would bring it back down to 21, and 1/4 would actually be 3/4, so that would actually be 8/12. And 8/12 is just another way of saying 21 2/3. There we go. That's much better. Okay, so our answer is 58 and 11/12. Took a minute to get there. Whew. Okay, I hope you wrote all this down because I'm going to erase. You can always pause and go back, see what I've erased, see where I've made mistakes, see where I've corrected my mistakes. I'm going to erase this so that we have enough space to work for an E. 24/5 plus blank plus 8/7 equals 9. Okay, well, let's go ahead and, I have the urge to turn these into improper fractions, or turn these from improper fractions into mixed fractions. So 5 would go into 24 4 times with 4 left over, right? And then our question mark. And then this 8/7 is actually 1 and 1/7. So here, adding all this up together would be 5 plus 4/5 plus 1/7, right? Do you see what I did? Now let's turn this into like fractions. So that's going to be 28/35s, and this is going to be 5/35s, and that right there will be 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Is that right? Yes. 5 and 33/35. Okay, and we want to get to 9. So here is my number line. After I've added all those together, I'm going to start at 5 and 33/35. And I want to get to 9. So to get to 6, I need 2/35, okay, because I'm already so close. And then 7, 8, 9. So that's 1, 2, 3. So my answer here is going to be 3 and 2/35. Sometimes that number line, it's really helpful. 3 and 2/35. That's my answer. Good. Okay. Now I'm sorry I have to erase this again so that I can do the work for letter F. Ooh, F has a decimal in it. Okay. Now, don't be frightened. It wasn't that long ago that we were working with decimals every day. So, in fact, we have some options here. We can turn the decimal into a fraction, because you know that 1/10 is just 10 and 1/10. So we could do it like that. Okay. Or if you're feeling particularly smart today, that's 11, sorry. You can turn the fractions into decimal. So you know that 11.1 plus 3 and 1/10 would just be 3 and 1/10 minus question mark equals 99/10, which just equals 9 and 9/10. Okay, so you can do it like this if that makes you more comfortable. Let's do it both ways. Okay, let me switch colors. I've been using a lot of blue today. 11 and 3 is 14, and 1/10 and 1/10 and 2/10 minus something equals 99/10. Okay, here I want to turn that into a improper fraction. So it's tenths, so I'm really going, instead of 14, we're going to call it 142. 142 tenths. So let me erase these decimals for right now. I will draw them back in there. Okay, just so I can show you what I mean. So 142 tenths minus something, and it's probably going to be over tenths, isn't it, equals 99 tenths. Now all I have to do is subtract 99 from 42, which would be 43. Okay, so my answer is 43 tenths. Now let's do this in decimals. Now if you can turn this into a decimal, you know that that's 4.3. So if we use decimals to solve this problem, we're looking for that answer to see if it's the same. Okay, 11.1 plus 3.1 minus something equals 9.9. So 14.2 minus what equals 9.9? Well, we can just subtract 9.9 from that. And then I feel pretty comfortable with decimals. I don't know how you guys feel. Okay, 4.3. Look at that, same answer. 4 3/10. 4 3/10. 4.3, 43/10. Awesome. So if you want to turn this one into decimals, you can, or if you want to keep it as fractions, you can. Just remember that you have to convert. You have to convert them. And we're moving on. This is a hard lesson. There are only 3 more lessons after this before the exam, which is why this lesson is harder, because it's trying to use everything that we've been learning together and using all of your strategies, your grids and your rectangle area models and your common denominators and your equivalent fractions, okay? And you're doing all of those things to make these problems easier. Okay, D'Angelo needs 100 pounds of garden soil to landscape a building. In the company's storage area, he finds 2 cases, so there's 2 of them, holding 24 3/4 pounds of garden soil each. That means there's 2. And a third case holding 19 3/8 of a pound. How much gardening soil does D'Angelo still need in order to do the job? So I'm going to use a tape diagram here. He needs 100 pounds. LB means pounds. He has 2 cases, and they're identical, so I'm going to draw them identical. 24 3/4 and 24 3/4 of garden soil that he found. And then he found a third one that has 19 3/8. How much gardening soil does he still need to do? Okay, so this is definitely a 2-part problem, kind of a 3-part problem. So our actual problem is, so we read it and we drew a tape diagram. Now we're going to write our expression, which is 100 pounds minus 24 3/4 plus 24 3/4 plus 19 3/8 equals how much he still needs. Okay, we can add these two right away. 24 and 24 is 48. 3/4 and 3/4 is 6/4. Now over here I have 19 3/8. Are you seeing the common denominator I want to use to add those? I hope you do. I want to use 8, so I'm going to multiply by 2. And that is going to give me 48 12/8 plus 19 3/8, which equals, let's see, 48 is getting late at night, so my brain math is a little bit tired. Okay, 16 is 17, 1 is 5 is 6, 67, and 15/8, but this is, look, that's improper, so I'm going to change it into 68 and 7/8. Now that's just the first part, okay? So now I know what this means, 68 and 7/8. That's this part of the job. Now I still need to figure out that. So here I'm going to subtract. So 100 minus 68 and 7/8 equals. Okay, now Here's where we can use a number line. I'm going to start at 100. And I'm going to subtract 68. And then I'm going to subtract, there's 67. 7 eighths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 eighths. Okay, and that brings me back to, I'm sorry, that's not 67. Okay. So 100 minus 68 is, let's see, 32, right? 32 plus 30, yep, 70, 80, 90, 100, okay. And then I have to subtract, so this is 31, and this is my answer there, so it's 31 and 1/8. So my answer here, my answer here is 31 and 1/8. How much gardening soil does D'Angelo still need in order to do the job? He needs 31 and 1/8 what? Pounds, LB, pounds of soil, period. Number 4, is that the last one? Oh, good, yep. Volunteers helped clean up 8.2 kilograms of trash in one neighborhood and 11.5 kilograms in another. They sent 1 1/4 kilograms to be recycled and threw the rest away. How many kilograms of trash did they throw away? Okay, this is 2 parts. So, volunteers cleaned up 8.2 kilograms in one neighborhood. And then they cleaned up 11.5 kilograms in another neighborhood. So we're going to add those together. Then they sent, change colors, then they sent 1 1/4, like that much, 1 1/4 to be recycled, and then the rest they threw away. That was the trash. So, do you see what we need to do here? We need to add these numbers. So 8.2 plus 11.5. Okay. Then I need to subtract this 1 1/4 minus 1 1/4, and that's going to give us our answer. Okay. Now, I didn't pay attention to it until now. I mean, I did, but I was ignoring it. I've got some decimals and some fractions. How would you like to move forward? We can move forward with decimals, which I'm pretty comfortable with, or we can keep these as fractions and change that into a fraction. So, 2/10 you could write like this. That's 2/10. Or 1/2 you could write like this, 0.5. And 1/4 is 0.25. So I think because 2 of these are already in fractions, we'll just change this one into a fraction as well. So 8 2/10 plus 11 1/2. We'll add those together, minus 1 1/4. We'll do that part later. 8 and 11 is 19. And you know that 1/2 is actually 5/10. So I don't even need to do any weird common denominator stuff. I can just change that. And that is 7/10. Okay, minus 1 1/4. Okay, well now I do need to find a common denominator because tenths and fourths do not like each other so much. I think the common denominator I want to use is 20 because 4 will go into 25 times and 10 will go into 22 times. So 19 And I needed to multiply that by 2 to get 20, so that means I have to multiply that by 20. So 2 over 2, that's 14, minus 1, and this times 5, and that times 5, over 5 20s equals, and 19 minus 1 is 18, and 14 minus 5 is 9. So 18 and 9/20. How many kilograms of trash did they throw away? 18 and 9/20 kilograms of trash. All right. Yes, today was a long lesson. Yesterday's was short though, so it evens out. Please go do your exit ticket. Okay, all you have to do is fill in the blank here. And this is just addition, so that should be pretty easy for you. And here it's all subtraction, okay? So they're not mixing symbols with you. This is just straight addition and straight subtraction. So find the answers. Use your strategies here, okay? And then submit your exit ticket. After you finish your exit ticket, then you can go on to your lesson 14 homework. Thank you. Have a great evening. Or a great day.